Welcome to Vinci's Discourse, where the minds of today's most innovative entrepreneurs are unveiled and explored. And my name is Kyle Campbell, your guide on this journey into the depths of the entrepreneurial psyche. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the minds of the greats. This is Vinci's Discourse.
All right, brother, let's get into it. So Noah, dude, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. Why don't you tell me about yourself, brother? What do you do?
I currently run a couple companies. One company is focused on real estate, and the other company is focused on marketing and sales. And I've been running marketing and sales for majority of my life. Been just focused on those two skills, marketing and sales. I asked myself a question early on in my career, what do I need to be able to make sure that I can survive in business, whatever happens? And I realized if I learn how to market and I learn how to sell, then I'm pretty much set. At any point in time, I can learn how to market a product, sell it, and then I'll be able to make some money. But I originally started making online courses actually on Udemy. I have not touched the courses for 2.5, 3 years now. I racked up about 250,000 students there, about 20,000 reviews, and this is just a source of passive income that's operating in the back. I have written actually a few books and published them on Amazon Kindle, paperback and Kindle versions. I was really interested in writing as part of developing my expertise, but it's more personal development books. I never wanted to create something related to marketing and sales because those are skills that I wanted to reserve for myself and individuals I work closely with. And I recently moved to Dubai after expanding the businesses. I started a brokerage company here, leveraging the marketing and sales skills that I acquired, and I still run my sales and marketing company in the back.
Oh, right on, dude. So what are you brokering right now?
Real estate. So I do
Oh,
investment advisory on different real estate projects in Dubai.
okay, right on, dude. So that's your focus right now, I guess, eh?
Focus is split, half between marketing lead generation and half between real estate.
Okay, so marketing lead generation, is that an agency style or how?
Agency style, but it's not really an open agency where, a client can book a meeting and they can get onboarding. I'm really just reserved to certain network of people. I work with certain individuals that I know personally, and I just keep it this way. I work with these individuals. It makes X amount of money. It's an easy business relationship because I've dealt with clients in the past. When I first started the marketing company, I offered a free service for a month so I can onboard clients. And I realized that when you work with clients that you don't personally know, one, and second, clients that don't really make a lot of money, it's really tough to work with these people because they're very stingy about details and they want so much for so little and they complain about a lot of things. So I decided to just move away from that, focus on working with people I know, and focus on working on more high ticket sales. And yeah, that's how it's been going so far.
Interesting, dude. So you have no desire for new clients outside of your circle.
Uh, it really depends. Like it has to be a friend of a friend.
Okay.
Because again, look, I'm at a point. Obviously, every single person who's making money, they would not mind making more, but
Right.
I value peace of mind
Okay.
very much. I think
Okay.
that peace of mind is very important for me to be able to be innovative and to be able to expand my career as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And if there's a new client that's going to come in who's going to pay me an extra $2,000, $3,000 a month, but they're going to double the amount of stress that I have in my life just by them being a client, I'd rather cut them out and just focus on my clients and my work and my innovation, rather than having to take this toll on.
Right. Okay. I got you. Yeah, the peace of mind's important, man. It's critical. That
Yeah.
comes down to firing. Essentially, what you're doing is you're firing clients before they get a chance to work with you. Yeah, so that you can have that
Yes.
peace of mind before you have that struggle or that pain in the ass client that's being
Yes.
annoying with you, right? We've all been there.
Yes.
All right, cool, man. So let's get into the marketing end of a little bit. I want to ask you an interesting question.
Mhm.
How do you know what marketing to use when you're approaching a project?
Interesting question. I don't like to recreate the wheel. Okay,
Mm,
there's a lot of people who would sit down on the whiteboard and say, okay, what kind of ads we want to run, and listen to different people talk and get ideas. I like to just see what's working and add my own twist to it. So I would just go on Instagram. One way is to something that I call hacking the algorithm. You wanna hack the algorithm in a way where you go on Instagram and you type in, let's say somebody wants to do marketing for anything, for a certain product, a fitness course. They can literally go on Instagram and type in fitness course in the search bar and type it, go look at certain tags, go look at certain accounts, and wait a day, close the app, wake up next day, guess what Instagram is going to be showing you? Fitness ad after fitness course ad after fitness ad after fitness course ad, and then you just skim through them. You see what the competitors are doing. And it's not in a way where see what they're doing, take a screenshot and go use the same ad, because then you'll get copyright flagged and your ad account will be shut down. But you want to see what people are doing. You want to see what's actually working, and you don't want to do it for one day. Look at it, engage with some ads and see if there's somebody who's been running the same ad for 2 months. Something's got to be working. I mean, why would you spend $100 a day, for 2 months if the ad is not giving you any kind of return? So that's usually how I find my ads. I look at what the biggest people in the industry are doing, and I try to add my own twist to it and launch the ads.
So how do you know who to look for so that you can model them?
As I said, I would hack the algorithm. I would type it in the search bar, see the ads that pop up, and then look, when you see an ad and you click on it and you see a Facebook page running the ad that has
Right.
0 likes, obviously that's not somebody that you want to learn from. But you see a page that has 620,000 followers, 500,000 likes, an ad that gained 3 million views. That's a little bit more, you want to look at the numbers, and based off of the numbers, you can make a rational decision as to, is this something or someone that I can trust taking advice from when it comes to the ad or not?
Right. Okay. So what do you think about going to the Facebook ads, for example, or the Instagram ads that have been working for a long period of time, and therefore they're obviously effective if they're still spending money on them? Do you model those
Yeah,
ads as well as the upfront pages that people are posting on their
100%.
Yeah, right.
100%. This is what you need to model. Again, I believe that in the future, it's good to get creative, and it's creative people that do the creative initiative that gets the fruit of the labor initially. I'm a creative person, but I know that creativity costs a lot, and it's
Yes,
better
it
to focus on
does.
something that works. Exactly. It's
Mm.
better to focus first on something that works to make sure that you have a solid base, and then use your creativity on top of it.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, when it comes to using your creativity on top of it, like let's say you're formulating a marketing campaign. You
Mm.
start with examining what other people are doing that you want to emulate their success, and then
Yep.
what's your next step after that?
Test, do A/B
Yes.
testing,
Yeah.
split testing.
What about
Uh,
for traffic, man? So like for tests, that presumes that you're getting traffic. So where does your
exactly.
mind go when you think about starting to get traffic from a dead
I
campaign?
would run, I would run a Facebook ad. I
Okay.
would take ideas, go on Canva. Canva is pretty widely used by everybody. I think they have millions, hundreds of millions of users. You just recreate an ad similar to the ones that you saw as winning ads, and you want to recreate something similar, post it on Facebook, run it for a few days, see how it goes. And then if you get good results, which ads got you the best results, do some split test variations, do some A/B testing, adjust the ad a little bit until the results get better and better, and just keep adjusting the ad. If it doesn't work, try something different. And if it does work, then you're onto something. You just need to keep developing the same ad until it becomes a winning optimized ad, basically.
Right. Okay. So what about organic? Because dude, I haven't been able to get Facebook ads to work for shit. I'll tell you straight up. It's hard as hell, man. Like the offer can be a rock star offer, but I mean, I
Uh,
feel like I'm competing against people that I can spend 30, 40 times what I can spend because they're not caring if they profit for another 40 years, you know? So it's
yes,
difficult as hell to get Facebook ads,
it
even
is.
Google ads to work, paid ads. What do you say to somebody who says that to you?
I've I've noticed that it's for me, it's the opposite. It's harder for me to get organic
Interesting.
leads than to get paid leads. I've been dabbling recently into Instagram Reels, YouTube Reels, where people are getting excuse my language, but a ton of leads, right? And it works, but I believe that you need to put a certain amount of work, front load work on it for you to build a name, build a page, and be able to promote. And when you're starting a new company, like for example, for real estate, I did not have the time to get organic leads. I just wanted to run an ad and start getting leads right away. if you're running, I understand the idea of, okay, there are people who are running a budget that's a lot higher than me, who don't mind, wasting money right now so they can make money later. But that's where creativity comes into play. So it's like, okay, what type of ads are they running? What can I do that's a little bit better than them that would differentiate me? And even with my small budget, I'm able to get a little bit of a competitive advantage over them and win some of the market share. So that's where we can use our creativity to kind of gain that competitive edge.
Right. So how do you think about the creativity process? Let's say you found an ad that's working and you're thinking about modeling it. Where do you start with that process?
It's a simple idea that I got from Alex Hormozy. It's what is the best offer that I can give to people that they would feel stupid saying no to, right?
Mm.
So if somebody's like, this ad is too good to be true, you're going a little bit into the extreme or where people won't even trust to click on your ad. But if they're like, this seems too good to be true, but I'm not sure, I better check it out, then you're hitting a very nice optimal point there. And then you want to get creative by leveraging this idea. It's like, what is the best offer that I can give these people that they will feel stupid saying no to? And then how can I put this into words? That's where copywriting kind of comes into play. That's where the imagery comes into play. And it's all about stimulating the right emotions. And you want to get creative in a sense where people think about, okay, what offer do I want to give people instead of focusing on what can I show people that will stimulate the right emotions that will get them to take actions, because people take action based on emotion. So if you can stimulate the emotion with the right graphics, with the right wording, the action will follow. So that's where creativity will come into the play.
Right on, dude. Let's get into the offers a little bit, because the offer, like you said, if you can make an offer where they feel stupid saying no to, you've got something that's a home run potentially. But you don't want to have something that's too attractive where people are thinking, oh man, it's too good to be true, this can't be real, and they're not going to click on it because of that perception. So how do you strike that balance, man?
A/B testing is important, but
Yeah.
first, it's just let's start with what's something that's a little bit believable. Like, let's say I'm a fitness coach and I want to run an ad, and I say, okay, lose 30 pounds or 35 pounds in the next week, or you don't pay. Who's going to lose 30 pounds in 7? That's not even healthy. Like, even
Right.
if it's sponsored, man, I don't want to do that to myself, right?
Yeah.
You want to be a little bit more believable. It's like, okay, let's say lose 7 pounds in 7 weeks, maybe a little bit, or you don't pay, right? Or you don't pay is something that you can always use in ads. Ton of people use it, right? I had early on mentors that were teaching me about marketing, and they always used "or you don't pay" in their campaigns, and it used to work like magic, right? So you want to make an offer, and then maybe do an A/B testing with another ad that says, "Hey, lose 15 pounds, double
Mm.
it in the same amount of time in 7 weeks, or you don't pay," and see what you get. You see what people, you want to look at the data. The best way for you to predict the ad's success and the future performance of your campaign or your business is to look at the data and deduct conclusions from it, learn from it, adjust accordingly, recalibrate, and then go back at it and keep testing.
Yeah, the scientific method, right? You have a thesis, you've got a theory that something's going to work, you test it out, you look at the results from that, and then you revise based on the results. And it's an ongoing process. You never finishes, right? Which is interesting
Exactly.
because perfection is impossible. So I feel like that's something
Yes.
that gets in a lot of entrepreneurs' way, right? Trying to go for perfect right off the bat, whereas it's impossible when you think about it from the scientific method. There's no such thing as perfect. The best you can do is just continue to reiterate until you can get better and better and better. You've got a control, and you're going to test against that control as much as you can. Now, when it comes to the testing, you start with the headline. Is that right?
Headline, title, creative, text within the creative, even landing pages. There's a
Right.
lot of things that you can do in terms of split testing and try different things.
Right. So if you're not getting enough clicks, then you test the headline first, and then you go into the body copy, or then do you start with the headline and then into the image first? Which do you start testing first? And then here's an
It's
interesting question. And how do you know when you're finished testing where you're okay with that result?
um, for each ad, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to run an ad and it's going to spend $200, and the cost per click is going to be so high, you're going to get no leads. You spend $200, people barely even clicked on the ad, right? And you're like, okay, something is not right with the ad entirely. You got to change the creative, change the title. But then you have other ads where your cost per click is a 0.05. You're getting a ton of clicks, but then you converted 2 leads. Out of 2,000 people, you converted 2 leads. It's like, okay, maybe the offer is not as good.
Right.
Let's say, for example, now your cost per click is good. You're converting a good number of leads to your website. You have, let's say, 20 people now instead of 2 that visited your website, but only one of them actually signed up on your funnel. Question mark, why, right? Then you go and you adjust your funnel. Now there is 5 people out of 20 that are actually signing up on your funnel. Amazing. Out of these 5, nobody's buying. Adjust again, So you got to go systematically, step by step, cost per click, cost per acquisition, cost per lead, then cost per conversion, then cost per acquisition, average cart value. And then again, it's all based on scientific method and the data. Break down the data, see where you need to improve. There is a software called Geru.com, Geru.com. It's amazing. What it gets you to do is it gets you to simulate your business model. You put an ad and you link your ad to a funnel, and you link the funnel to a checkout page and a product, and then you run a simulation. You say, okay, if I get 1,000 people at 0.05 cost per a click or cost per lead that go into this funnel with a 15% conversion and a 2% conversion on sale, how much would I make? And it does the simulation and gives you the numbers. So then you're like, okay, this is not good. I'm still losing money. What kind of percentage of conversion do I need for this to break even? And then you keep adjusting, and then it's like, okay, 16%, that's the sweet spot. Like, okay, how much profit do I want to make? Well, I want to make off this funnel an extra 5K a week, right? So it's like, okay, what kind of conversion percentage do I need? You come to the formula, like, okay, I need 24% conversion in order for me to make an extra 5K a week. Then your goal is to make sure that your funnel converts at 24%. So you kind of reverse engineer the process and going through it step by step.
Right, dude. That's clever as hell. JRU.com?
Jeru.
JERU.com. Okay, sweet.
Jeru.com.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude, that's killer as hell. Okay, awesome, man. I'm gonna type that in my browser right now. We're gonna get started with that as soon as this is done. I love it, dude.
Yes.
So, so what you're essentially doing is you're simulating a market experiment without having to spend the money on the ads, and you're finding out the bottom line percentages that you'd have to get at each step for it to be a profitable venture. Yeah,
Exactly.
man, that's fascinating as all hell. But JERU.com, I don't think worked. I don't know where my mouse is. Is it GERU?
GERU, sorry.
Oh, okay, it's GERU.com.
Or you meet your next winning funnel.
Oh, okay. So it's like guru, but with an E. All right, sweet.
Exactly.
I got that. All right, beauty, man. Hell yeah, I'm gonna check that out after. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Of course. It can get very intricate, where you can also put like follow-up emails. You can put 10 follow-up emails with open rates. I'm not gonna get too much into it. You'll dabble into it. You'll see how it works. But it's truly fascinating. You'll run your entire marketing and sales simulation without having to spend a dime, basically.
And without having to do the math yourself, because you could do this on your own, but it's a pain in the ass. Like generally what I do is I'll go with pen and paper and I'll sketch out the funnel, sketch out the process, the strategy, the tactics I'm using within it. And I feel like this would be a lot more effective because you don't have to do the math
100%.
yourself. I hate doing the math. No, not many entrepreneurs like doing the math part, So
if you make one mistake, your entire set of numbers are wrong. So you want to make sure that's properly calculated.
Interesting, dude. So on the technology front, what's your opinion on AI and using AI in your marketing? Where does your mind go with that?
I love AI.
Hell yeah.
I use ChatGPT often. I want to send, for example, quick follow-up emails. I need some text for my website, for funnels, descriptions, right? ChatGPT is my go-to. I haven't dabbled too much into other AI softwares yet. I know there's plenty coming out every single day almost. But for now, I just focus on the original ChatGPT, just banging out a lot of content.
Yeah, man, they're coming out with GPT-5 this year. I hope so. It might not be called GPT-5 though, so we'll see. I'm excited about that, man. I love ChatGPT, dude. We run our company with the engine of ChatGPT. We use our own API, our own front end, but the engine that's running, that's pumping the fuel through the system is ChatGPT. I love it, dude. So only for copywriting, for essentially what you mentioned was just copywriting, right? Do you use it for anything else?
Copywriting, I haven't used it much for other purposes yet. Sometimes I dabble into it. I know, for example, if I need a fitness plan, it can build me a fitness plan. If I want a schedule, it can fix my schedule. A ChatGPT can be your personal assistant, can be your personal chef, give you food recommendations, can be your tourist guide. You can literally
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
well, I was traveling with my girlfriend a while back, and I'd literally go on ChatGPT and be like, okay, plan me a 5-day trip in Rome, and
yeah.
literally gives you everything you need to do. At 12:30, you're here, 1 p.m. you're there, eat at this restaurant, go there. It's like, wow, right?
Uh-huh.
You're
Uh-huh.
getting you're getting everything you need from ChatGPT.
How do you think that AI is going to evolve in the marketing future landscape? I mean, because if you're using it for copywriting right now, where do you think it's going to go in let's say 5, 10 years? Nobody knows, right? But
Keep getting
where's
better.
your prediction bringing you?
It's going to keep getting better.
Yeah,
The thing is, right now you're looking at AI with basic computing power,
yeah.
or maybe advanced computing power when it comes to ChatGPT. But we still have not tied the knot between quantum computing and
Mm,
AI technology. At a
mm,
point where you release AI technology and you open the floodgates of the internet in terms of information for ChatGPT to use all of this at its own pace, at its own choice, and then connect that to the power of quantum computing and the possibilities and the algorithmic power that comes with it, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. Everything needs to be different because with this kind of computing power, you can break the internet that we currently have. So I don't
mm.
know where it's going to go, but it's definitely something interesting to monitor and see where we're going to get to.
I agree, dude. It's so stellar, man. It's so exciting where times we're taking it. We got no idea what's gonna come of it. All we can do is just buckle up and hang on tight, man. This is gonna be a wild ride. So I'm stoked about it, dude. Let's go to your brokerage because I'm curious when you started it, because it's relatively recently when you started it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. So when you started it recently, what was your first move that you made when you got into it?
I had to register the company.
Yeah.
Dubai company registrations, it takes a while. And it's
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I want to let you know that I've got a free book that you can get if you want to tap into more of these resources. And you can get that for free at kylesbook.com. Back to the podcast.
a lot more costly than in Canada. In Canada, it's you pay 200-300 bucks. Same thing in the US, you pay 300-400 bucks. You register your company, you're a limited liability corporation. You get your documents of corporation. You go to the bank, you open a bank account next day, and then your company is fully ready to be operational. In Dubai, it's a long process. You need to send your company, you need to send your documents. It takes about 2 months for you to get your documents
Mm.
back. It costs about 15K for you to register a
Wow.
limited liability corporation, and then you have recurrent fees. So in Canada, US, you pay a fee one time for your corporation, and then you're good. In Dubai, there's recurrent fees. So the fact that there's no taxes here, people think that it's a money haven, but at the same time, the government is making money in other places, and obviously, they're right to do so because the government needs to make money for them to be able to sustain such an infrastructure. But that's where we started, registering the company, and then opening a bank account was also a hassle. Some of the main banks here for corporations in Canada, I register my company, I open a bank account next day. Here, for example, for the main banks that you need to work with, they require a rolling balance of 500,000 dirhams, which is the equivalent of about $200,000 that you need to
Mm.
put in the bank. And there's no issue in putting that money, but the issue is that you cannot touch the balance. If you come to the end of the month where you get your statement and the money is not there, they're going to fine you for it. So it's
Huh.
like you're basically giving out $200,000 just for you to have a bank account, a corporate bank account. Keep in mind, there are other options, but then you're not talking about a physical bank, you're talking about online banking and so on and so forth. So company set up, opening bank accounts, setting up everything, getting the rare certificate, getting certifications that's needed for the company to be operational. and then testing ads. So that's the third step. I started testing ads and running sales scripts with different individuals. And that's where the ball started rolling. Even though I worked in real estate before, so I had the experience that I kind of needed to work on this. But it's a completely different experience when you're working on it complete from scratch. Ran ads, saw the winning ads. I tested 5 different ads. One of them performed the best, then kept running this ad. And I still am running this exact same ad. Get leads. I get leads every single day. And then I call the leads, pitch them on different projects, explain to them how it works, and then funnel down the people who are interested to work on next steps.
Oh man, that's so killer, dude. How did you know that you would get into real estate? Because it's a big jump from what you were doing before, because your other end of it is more or less the agency end of it, the sales and marketing route. What made you want to go into the real estate game? You said you were in it before, but what brought you there?
So I always dabbled into real estate in the back. I worked with individuals in Canada that worked with Remax, for example. So I always had quite a bit of interest with the real estate market, and I worked in it to an extent. It wasn't as much as a direct brokerage involvement as it was other areas in real estate. And what brought me into this specifically is because people always used to say there's a lot of competition in Dubai, and I agree, there's a lot of competition when it comes to real estate, but I don't believe that there are a lot of individuals or companies that offer an adequate service when it comes to real estate. I believe that the level of service, if we can bring a US Canadian company level of service to the Dubai infrastructure or the industry of real estate, that's where you can have a very powerful mix of elements. And that's basically what I saw when I first came here and moved into real estate. Because at the end of the day, I went through certain training that I had to go through. I acquired a lot of information, did a lot of partnerships with different builders and developers here to be able to get to a point right now where I'm running fully a brokerage. But it's a step-by-step process. And at the end of the day, it's a very nice market to be working in. It's very different for you to work with real estate investors than to work with a friend who has a small a lead generation or marketing company, and they want to operate and they want to pay you $1,000 a month, and they want to complain, and it's just like you're dealing with a completely different set of people, set of tasks, and set of goals, and it's really interesting for me.
Yeah, man, I love that, dude. It sounds like you're doing something that you love over there. Dubai is interesting, man. Why Dubai
Yeah.
out of all the places? Because I mean, hell, it's a big move from Ottawa, Canada, right? So why Dubai?
Yes. The economy is booming. The economy is
Ah,
booming. Um, I have quite a bit of family here as
oh,
well.
okay.
I do have family in Canada, like closer family in Canada, but I do have some extended family here. I did not have a huge network when I moved here, but primarily, first I was sick of the snow, to be completely honest. Ottawa,
Yes.
Ottawa is cold, man. It's
Mhm.
cold. I'm not sure where you live.
Quebec,
Um,
dude, it's colder up here. Yeah, it's like shit,
where,
man. It never stops snowing up
okay,
here.
okay,
I'm
okay.
tired of it, dude. I'm coming to Dubai, baby. Come on. I'm getting the hell out of here. Yeah, no, I'm sick
You
of the
know,
snow
you know
too,
what I'm
man.
talking about.
Yeah, 100%,
The
100%.
the apartment that I was living in before I moved to Dubai, it was in a fairly new building, and the parking lot was still above ground. And I had a sports car. I had a BMW 850,
Nice.
and I would, for example, let's say January, I need to go somewhere. You need to go down. You need to go into a big parking lot that's not covered, shovel the snow, and then get your car out of the parking lot. Basically, going through the man. It was
Yeah.
it was not a pleasurable experience. Like you get a car, you want to enjoy driving it, but then you can't almost like 7 months of the year. So the snow was definitely part of it. Dubai has beautiful weather, but then now I learned here that summers are not even bad. They're like
Mm.
horrible. So I went from one
Um,
extreme to the other.
mm.
Uh, but overall, it was just a land of opportunity, in my opinion. I thought that I had quite a bit of experience in certain areas that I can come here and I can get into the market right away, which is what happened. And we'll see where we're going to end up. I mean, we're still young. This is the time for us to explore different possibilities, explore different places, and so we can pick a place to build a solid base in the future.
Okay, right on, brother. I like that. Yeah, hell, I'm coming to Dubai, dude, because I had to get the hell out of this snow. So it's pissing me off. I got to get out of here.
Where in Quebec are you?
Quebec City right now. And I
Quebec
alternate
City.
between Montreal and Quebec City. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Kind of just, I got my girlfriend up here and I follow her around. We got from the house to house. So we see wherever she goes, I go because I work online, right? So it doesn't matter where I'm at. Yeah, man. So
Probably a lot of snow outside, right?
dude, it's ridiculous. There's like 2 feet of snow, 3 feet of snow right now. And over the last 24 hours, there's been an extra foot. Yeah, dude, it's like, oh, because I grew up in Ontario, so there was less snow where I grew up. So this is a big
Yes.
shock to me. Yeah, man. So I
Yeah,
got my
yeah.
big parka jacket, like the Arctic kind of jacket that people wear to oh man. So yeah, that's my life up here. But anyway, dude, let's get back into the marketing agency because I'm curious what your well, let's say I signed up with you and we were going to do a campaign together for let's say I run an AI agency, which I do. Where would you start in terms of helping me? Because this is interesting. You're helping an agency as an agency. So it's kind of a meta agency at that point. What would you,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So where does your mind go? You start with identifying competitors who are succeeding in the market that we're trying to succeed in. And where would you start with the campaign? You would start with a paid ad, so you can start A/B testing, see what the market message matches, and then you just continue to iterate that test until until it's profitable, I guess, right?
Until it's profitable, the first goal is to run an ad that generates enough good quality leads so that you're converting at a profit.
Mm,
Once you do hit that point, this is the holy grail of any business. If you can have an ad that generates leads that convert and make you more money than what you're spending, then you can scale your business and spend more and grow more. From there, once we hit that point through the process that we went through, so seeing competitors, A/B testing, doing the adjustments until you find that winning ad, then that's when you can get creative and try different methods, different ads to try to bring down cost per lead, bring down cost per acquisition, increase average cart value, increase average ticket size, and do the adjustments accordingly. So you are both making more and more money as you go.
What about the target audience end of it? Because we're starting off with the ads, right? So that's interesting because the target audience is where I would start. Why don't you start with the target audience? I guess you kind of do in a way if you think about it, right?
It depends. It
Yeah,
depends.
yeah,
There are two methods. One of them is a little bit unorthodox. The other one is pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward method is, you know your audience. You're like, okay, no, I want to target individuals living in the States and Canada, young professionals who are interested in technology.
right.
Perfect. 32 to let's say 50 of age, male, female, interested in technology, interested in ChatGPT, interested in AI technology, interested in OpenAI. That's pretty easy to do. But then there are other people who come in and they're like, oh, I have this product, they have this cool gadget, right? And anybody can be interested in it, from an 18-year-old all the way to a 70-year-old, because it depends on people's interests. That's where the unorthodox method comes in, where you run an ad without setting a target audience, even though you're going to be wasting more money up front. But then based on the cost per clicks, based on the clicks, on the leads, on the sales that you get, you can narrow down, okay, who are the people who are clicking most on my ads? Oh, it's people between the age of 28 and 36 who are interested in XYZ,
Right.
and 90% of them, it's a male audience, only 10% are females. 100% of the conversions were guys, none of the conversions were females. Then you can narrow down what is your target audience, or the opposite, right? So these are the two methods that you follow depending on the ads and the product that you have.
I love that, dude. Yeah, how you narrow down based on what's happening with the active campaign with it. I mean,
Based
not the
on
company active campaign, but the active campaign in the marketplace. Yes. Interesting, man. I love that. So, what's a question that I'm not asking, but if I asked, would provide the maximum amount of value to the audience?
Where to lead your audience to?
Mm,
Because
mm,
a lot of people, they run Facebook ads and then they're like, okay, where do I go from there? Right.
right.
They call the lead doesn't answer, or where should the lead go? So I originally started with ClickFunnels. I'm actually 2 Comma Club. I watched some of your podcasts. You interviewed people who worked with ClickFunnels and they got ClickFunnels awards.
Yes.
So you're a little bit familiar with ClickFunnels, how it works. So I did hit 2CC personally. I hit two CCs. One of them I didn't even apply to yet. And we hit a 2CCX with one of my business partners that I worked with in the past.
Nice.
So we had a history with ClickFunnels because we realized that the old tactic and that people still use, they run ads and then they send people over to their website. I go on your website, you have homepage, contact us, about us, products, services, pricing, services, different projects, right? People don't know where to go.
Right.
A funnel is one of the most important things that people need in marketing. It's a website that has no menu, where you narrow down people's focus entirely into one thing. Buy this product, sign up for this webinar, sign up for this service, do this, do that. So people can't go click on different pages. They have a narrow focus. They need to follow the page, click on certain buttons, and get led from there into different steps. So I think that's very important. Second thing is email marketing. So a lot of people get leads, and then what do? They call the lead once, the lead doesn't answer, and then they're like, they're not interested. Well, you got to try a little bit harder, right? We're fighting for people's attention nowadays. So using Russell Brunson, the owner of ClickFunnels, talks about something called a soap opera sequence, where your emails shouldn't be boring. Hey, this is Noah from X company. I just wanted to follow up with you regarding the lead form that you submit. No. You need to be creative. Yeah. So he uses soap opera sequence. He's like, you need to turn this into a kind of series. The first email needs to stimulate curiosity and action. You want to start with the moment of highest drama, right? You look at Marvel movies. They don't start with, for example, Superman just walking around, getting in his car. It's like it starts with the moment where Batman is standing on top Superman and kind of trying to kill him, and then it's the moment of highest drama that usually the greatest movies start with a moment of high drama, intensity for a minute, and then it ends. Then the movie starts, right? Because you need this initial dopamine hit to stimulate people's attention. Same thing when it comes to emails. So I can go on and on about different things that people need to know when it comes to marketing, that it's not just as simple as run an ad, get a lead, and talk to them. There's so many intricate steps in between that people need to be aware of, but it starts with the basics and the fundamentals that we spoke about.
Yeah, man. So that leaves me with two questions. We'll start with the first one, which is going back to the funnels. How do you know what lead magnet to start with, to start testing with? How do you know what lead magnet is going to work?
You look at what your competitors are doing. What are they using as a lead magnet? Are they using an ebook, a course, a meal plan? What are they using? And try to use different things. The lead magnets, you can get a list. At the end of the day, you can get an extensive list of all the lead magnets that you can use, and you can A/B test and see which one works best.
Okay, I love it, dude. Okay, second question. This is more in line of of AI and how you use it, because you mentioned that you used AI and ChatGPT for writing emails. And so when you write the prompt to generate those emails, what are some of the things that you put into the prompt to generate high quality emails and copy?
So the way that I would do it with ChatGPT is, obviously in the past I used to type in my emails myself, which was dreadful. Now you go with ChatGPT, you're like, okay, I have this company, this product, write me a five series of emails. Then ChatGPT would write you one, and you're like, okay, make it more curiosity stimulating. Make it in the style of XYZ, right? Make it in the style of Morgan Freeman, for example, right? And because ChatGPT can pick up on those things, early on when people were asking me a lot about AI technology, I was saying the one thing that I don't think AI is going to be able to achieve is the creative aspect that human beings have. And I was very wrong on that.
Opposite, man. Yeah, everybody was saying that. Yeah, they were thinking like, okay, it's gonna help me do my dishes. It's gonna be a robot. That's where it's gonna start. It's gonna drive my car for me. But it can't do creative tasks, because that's something that's only human, man. We don't outsource that. And it turns out that was completely backwards, because we've started off with outsourcing the creativity.
Exactly.
Right, dude. What are some other things you add to the prompt? You say do write in the style of somebody. So who do you use for your copywriting? For me, I use Gary Halbert for the I write it in the style of Gary Halbert, and then I optimize it from there.
Because the emails that I usually want to build, they follow a Netflix series type of flow to them. I focus on the style of some actors or in the style of some movies or in the style of some events. Because we can always go back and say, okay, write me an email in the style of some of the best marketers, Russell Brunson, Alex Ramosi. But this is not primarily what we're looking for. We're looking for something that is a little bit cinematic, that's a little bit dramatic, that's a little bit, inspirational. So that's usually but there's no right or wrong, right? It's just different emails that you got to test out and see which one works best. But that's usually what I use. And I give commands to ChatGPT. Okay, make it a little bit more emotional, make the ending a little bit more inspirational, add a little bit more oomph to it, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Then you just see the different versions and pick the one that you think is best.
Do you have a prompt that you use? That's because for me, when I write copy, I've got like a 6-page prompt that I just paste in there. Then I give it some specific information about the project, and then it shoots me a relatively like steady copy. It's been getting worse lately, which fucking pisses me off, man, because it was so good for a while, man. It was beautiful, and now lately it's like, what the hell happened? The quality has dropped a little bit because they're holding back on computing power, which pisses me off. But do you have a template that you use?
I bought when ChatGPT first came out, there were some people selling list of prompts. And
Yeah.
I actually bought one of those lists and I still have it. It's like 999 plus prompts that's on Notion for ChatGPT that you can use for different things. Sometimes I use it, but most of the times I just like to use creative prompts. I just go based off of what I'm thinking about, what I'm feeling in the moment.
Yeah, right. Me too, man. Because like that's what I love about it. Spell check doesn't matter. You just let it pour out. And I find that's where the best
Exactly.
instructions for the prompt comes from. Yeah, you just let it pour out, and it doesn't matter how long it is, dude. Because now I can paste in a whole book, and it's as long as it's below 300 pages or something ridiculous, then it'll still take it. And so that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. I love that. I love what AI is doing for the marketing game.
I
Anything else you want to add, dude?
um maybe just a little emphasis on the importance of marketing and sales.
Mm,
We live in an age where there's an ever growing desire for people to start their own business or start their own side hustle, which is amazing because we live in a time where a 9 to 5 is not paying enough for majority of people to live a decent life.
mm.
And it's good to branch out. And people, the first thing that they do is they start focusing on, okay, I'm going to go on Instagram and go viral. And see a lot of people posting every day. And even though this is very good, but it's like, if you have an infrastructure that you cannot handle, you're gonna crumble and collapse. If I was to come to somebody who aspires to build a multi-million-dollar company, and I say, look, that's the keys to my office. Tomorrow you're gonna go in, you're gonna run my company, and you're gonna be making over $1 million a year. They're not gonna go know where to start or what to do. So it's very important to go through the steps. But some of the first 2 steps that people need to learn, and this is a piece of advice that I gave to a lot of individuals in my life, and when they followed it, they saw a very big change, is you need to learn marketing and you need to learn sales. You need to learn those 2 skills, no matter what you do in life, no matter what you sell, what kind of profession you're in. If you're an entrepreneur, somebody aspiring to have your own side hustle, your own business, you need to learn how to market effectively and you need to learn how to sell properly. If you learn those 2 things, basically, no matter what situation you fall into, you can find a way for you to make money because if your family is relying on you or you're relying on yourself, you need to figure out a way to take care of yourself. So it's not something that I would add as much as it's a piece of advice that I would give to anybody that would listen to this is to learn those skills because they're going to serve you for life.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can start to make money without knowing how to market and sell. And you got all kinds of people that say, well, I'm not a natural salesman, so I can't do this. And it's like, well, man, then you're going to be broke your whole life because you're not figuring
I,
what
I,
you need to figure out. So
I
yeah, 100%, dude. And people would say, well, what if I can just hire out the marketing and sales? And yeah, maybe, but you're not going to know what to hire for if you don't understand the marketing and sales to begin with before you start hiring.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
man.
imagine you hire a sales team or a marketing team and they're not performing.
Yeah. You don't know, you can't, what are
You
you going
come
to
to
say?
them, like, what's happening? You don't
Yeah.
know if they're underperforming, if they're not taking it seriously,
Yeah.
what mistake are they even doing it? And plus, majority of people, when they start a business, they don't have the capital to start a business, get an office, and hire a team, let alone an individual. They don't have the capacity to pay somebody 5K a month. They're barely surviving on their own ad spend. So it's like, okay, they bring in somebody and this person is not performing. They don't know what's wrong. They don't know anything about anything really. And they're just sitting there, twiddling their thumbs, being like, I wonder when this is going to work. Well, that's where you got to take things into your own hands and kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
Especially sales. I come from a background, I'm an introvert myself, and I've done a lot of public speaking competitions. I've spoken in front of hundreds of people. I've done a lot of speaking with Toastmasters. I've done a lot of sales in my life, a lot of communication, negotiation training. And people sometimes they look at me when I'm talking about sales and they're like, yeah, it's easy for you. Like, for extroverts, I'm like, dude, I'm not even an extrovert. It's like, as a matter of fact, I believe that introverted people, if they learn sales effectively, they can be much better at sales than extroverted people because they have this intrinsic ability of empathetic connection with people.
Yes, exactly.
Introverted people, they have this ability to feel what other people are feeling and kind of connect with without even having to put words into it. And if you can use that to your advantage and help people through it, man, there's great things ahead.
How do you develop that, man? And we'll leave it with this because that's the number one key in marketing, I think, is empathy, being able to empathize with the person you're selling something to so that you can feel what it's like to be in their world. You can understand what it's like to be them, what they need to hear to buy, what their pains they're going through are, everything that they're struggling with so that you can come in with a solution for. How do you go about developing empathy? Do you think there's a way for somebody who might not be that empathetic to begin with?
I think it begins with a self-reflection process. It begins with the self. I believe that empathetic individuals who are able to develop empathy towards others are individuals that are empathetic themselves. But I believe one part that's very important is the purpose that people have or that they set out to follow, the journey and the purpose and the passion that they have in life. If somebody is intrinsically passionate about helping others, and they have this deep passion or they have this meaning in life where they want to give their parents a better life. It's a very emotional goal or an emotional vision, and it fills people with the right emotions that help them stimulate a right internal environment to grow in skills like empathy, skills like communication, understanding others, listening to others, and being able to reciprocate feelings, words, and thoughts with other people.
Yes, and that's the key to marketing, isn't it? Being able to reciprocate thoughts and fully empathize and feel what it's like to live in somebody else's world and write that
100%.
copy and or even just give the prompts in that mindset of that individual you're selling something to. Dude, I love it, man. Anything else you want to add before we kick this off, brother? I love this interview.
One last thing related to sales. So we spoke a lot about marketing, right?
Yeah.
And we spoke about how to go by marketing. And I believe that it's easier to learn marketing than it is to learn sales. A lot of people, they might say, okay, in terms of marketing, I'm going to go see what the best people out there in the industry are doing. I'm going to learn from them, then do something similar, test it out, try something until something works. When it comes to sales, they're going to be like, okay, what do I do? If somebody's not good at sales and they're like, okay, I'm going to practice, and they want to pick up the phone and start talking to people so they can improve their sales skills. And then they're going to get 50 people who are going to hang up at them and they're going to call them names on the phone. They're going to get discouraged so quickly. So it's a lot harder to develop this. So it's an advice on how to develop kind of sales skills that I would finish this with is at one point, I used to be obsessed at mimicking great speakers and great sales guys. I used to go to some of the best movies, like for example, Wolf of Wall Street is a movie that's highly focused on sales, right? Jordan Belfort really screwed up in what he did, but he was such a great sales guy. Being able to go to his sales scripts, being able to go to listen to his sales calls. And then I would listen, I would get the script, and then I would record myself reiterating the same script. I would take speeches from movies. I would take speeches from great speakers like Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Tony Robbins. I would print out the entire script, 14 pages. I would go sit in the car so I don't bother the neighbors because it can get pretty loud. and I would just record myself repeating those scripts over and over and over and over. And then you listen to yourself and you're like, okay, I sound a little closer and a little closer. A lot of people say, okay, but then you're not being original. But it starts with you mimicking the greats.
Right.
You follow the footsteps of the greats and you become very good at mimicking their style. Then you add your own twist to it, and then you become your own person. So same thing as in marketing, you want to look at the greats, what they're doing, and do something similar and add your own twist to it. Same thing applies to sales. And if you do that, then you start calling people, you're going to have completely different results than you would if you just start calling people with no sales skills whatsoever.
Wow, man, I love that. Yeah, even if you look at the sales scripts in the movie Wolf of Wall Street, there are some killer scripts in the movie itself. Never mind Jordan Belfort's straight line persuasion system, which is also sweet. But even just the movie itself, if you pay attention to the scripts in the movie, it's like, whoa, they actually put it right in the movie, man. Yeah. Oh, God.
DiCaprio is great. DiCaprio
Yeah,
is
no
great.
kidding, man. Yeah.
Imagine you're able to sit down. There's a part in the movie where he goes into the first stocks company and he's making a phone call. It's like a 2-minute conversation, and then he finishes it, the entire office looking at it. It's like a 2-minute conversation. Imagine you get the script for this. You can get it from YouTube, and imagine you keep practicing it until you can outperform DiCaprio in that scene. The level of communication, level of expertise in talking that you get to be able to achieve that. And if you can then take that and apply it to any sales script that you use in your life, you're going to be absolutely crushing it. So
yeah, hell yeah, man. And that's the script I was talking about, by the way. And he learned it straight from Jordan Belfort himself. You can tell because it's right out of his program. And it's like, oh God.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the scene I was talking about at the first right after he got fired, or right after the firm report got shut down. He went to that little penny stock place, and that was the script. I'm like, man, that's a killer script, dude. I love it. Noah. Dude, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode. And if you want to get a free copy of my book, go to kylesbook.com and you can get a copy there. I'll talk with you soon.